Good morning, and great to be here. Thank you for that introduction, and I'd firstly like to congratulate Innovate Finance on 10 years, and more than that, pulling together a conference like this every year that beams in the Prime Minister, and I see around the halls and in the Speaker's Lounge, politicians, business leaders, innovators, media, and everyone that's interested in this vibrant economy. And wasn't it great to hear yesterday from Bim Afalami about working at pace, about 5 billion being invested in the fintech market in the UK last year, more than any other country in Europe put together, and second only to the United States. And so there's lots to be positive about. And I'm here to talk about open banking, from competition remedy to that commercial vision that we all share. And I think just about in every panel, every keynote over the last 24 hours, open banking has been mentioned. And so I'm going to talk about where we are, why I personally would echo Lord Holmes in being confident, excited, and proud of where we are. A lot more to do, but I'm going to share why I feel that way, but more importantly, what's coming next. I share the frustrations. We feel we're slow, we feel we're caught up, we feel we're not moving forward. But we need to keep reminding ourselves that this is really difficult. Not only, we're not launching a new product here, we're launching, designing, and implementing a brand new ecosystem that will span far beyond financial services in time. I caught the end part of a discussion this morning about home buying. I hear about digital identity. I get contacted by people from whether they're the police force or different industries or different jurisdictions that see the benefits of bringing to life a safe, secure, and trusted smart data economy. And the other reason I'm feeling confident about the future is I can share with you, never reported before, hot off the press, March's numbers for open banking in the UK. In January, we knew that 1 in 5 small businesses in the UK utilize in some way open banking. They use a service. They might not know they're using it, but that's the beauty of building an ecosystem that just works effectively for customers. And 1 in 7 consumers across the UK. So when you're feeling down, or when you're feeling we're slow, or when you read the naysayers, just remind yourselves of that. So here's the March headlines, which came to me yesterday for the first time. Total API calls in March, 1.52 billion. That's 10.5% up, 10.6 to be precise, on the previous month. This is month-on-month growth. This is the market, this is your organizations bringing to life open banking. Number of payments, which as you know is a major part of the use cases and benefits for open banking, 16.7 million payments. That's 15.5% up on the previous month. Month on month, we're seeing double-digit growth. It is happening, and it's growing as we are building, as we are figuring out that future path, as we collaborate. They're happening in tandem. Total active users, I was incredibly proud when just a few months ago we reported 7 million. It's now 9.5 million. It's going up quickly month on month. And the biggest use case in action is the HMRC collecting income tax. This year, HMRC collected £3.5 billion of tax revenue. Interesting in itself, but also what I found particularly important is we saw a 40% uplift on last year in the value of those income tax collections. That suggests that the trust is growing. Trust for large numbers, not just small everyday payments. So we're seeing this growth, we're seeing this confidence. And we all know in this market and in the payments market, it takes time. And it's important it takes time because we have to get it right. I often get asked, are we losing our advantage? I heard from a speaker this morning about what the experience is like in the United States. We know that over 60 other jurisdictions, as we heard from Lord Holmes, are emulating what we're doing here in the UK. And it's always difficult to compare with other countries. You know, the whole apples and oranges concept comes in. And yet we know, the recent impact report that we published, we're seeing in Italy, France, Spain, and Germany, around 2% of digital consumers are using open banking. UK today is over 5 times that, over 10%. So we're seeing a market that's more mature and growing faster. And so are we losing our edge? No. No, we are not. Does it take time to get this right? Absolutely it does. We're all proud of these achievements, but we're all, because you're innovators, looking forward and saying, what's next? And how do we maintain this lead? If you're still not sure, Apple chose the UK as the first and only, to date, country to integrate Apple Pay with open banking. I think that says a great deal, a great deal. Now, we look at big tech and we're nervous, we're excited, but they have reach. And it's really important, I think, stamp of approval of what the UK is doing. And the purpose of that is to give more information to end consumers about their financial health. That's to promote responsible spending. Does that account balance popping up make you think twice? Does it keep you in control of your finances? Well, it helps. And all of these initiatives are driven to help. Now, a year ago, we awaited the JROC report. And we're often waiting for a JROC report because we're waiting for one right now. And that report last year set out the roadmap for how we move ahead, how we move beyond the order. Now, as trustee, I am responsible for making sure the order, the work of the order, the performance of our market is embedded, is maintained, and is monitored. And I do that consistently. And it's going very well. Performance, resilience, working with the individual banks of the 9, working through issuers, it's going very well. And those 6 work streams took us forward. For those of you that might not recall all of them, the first, leveling up. Level and consistent access and performance across the industry, across the ecosystem. Better MI, better information and consistent information for third parties and consumers. It's not just bank to bank. Customers, payment initiation providers, third parties are engaged. Consistent flow of MI. Consumer protection, disputes resolution. Promote propositions for dispute resolution, critical. 4, mitigate the risks of financial crime. Oh my goodness, don't we all wish for a silver bullet that would do that? But open banking will enable innovators and others to mitigate the risks of financial crime. 5, promote and drive new use cases, starting with variable recurring payments. Got to get a better name for this. VRPs, starting with VRPs. And 6, stand up a future entity that can take this ecosystem forward to ensure sustainability, to ensure a fair, equitable, robust, and importantly safe central capability. So how are we doing? All have progressed, and all have progressed significantly. And I'm going to start with number 6, stand up that future entity. We will hear from JROC very, very soon the next steps on what we plan to do. It's still, much of it is in discussion, but that's part of figuring it out as we move. We will stand up soon what we're calling an interim entity. We will give it a better name, but an interim entity that will sit side by side with OBL, Open Banking Limited. Side by side, sharing resources, sharing the knowledge, keeping it efficient, keeping it moving forward. That interim entity will take forward the non-order work. That is work that takes us to the next stages. That is those 5 first work streams, the continuum of that work, and other initiatives, other demands, be it digital identity, be it the work of the Smart Data Council, be it the work of CFIT, be it the work of self-organized industry groups, which I applaud. And we'll move those forward because it will deliver what we term non-order work. That is work that must not be funded or led as part of the CMA order construct. It must not. It has to sit alongside and move forward. Now, as trustee, as I've said, it's my role to protect the order, but also to ensure smooth, safe transition. Not to just the interim entity, but after a period of time, those 2 organizations will become one, affectionately known as the future entity. All right? I don't know when that will be because we'll figure this out. My guess would be no sooner than sometime in 2026. 2 organizations closely connected moving forward. The governance, the structure are being finalized now and will emerge over the coming days and weeks. Now, this period of parallel running leads us forward, leads us in a direction. And we heard from BIM Afalami yesterday that they are determined to move at pace to develop the long-term regulatory framework. What does this mean? This is the DPDI bill that will get royal assent, we believe, this summer. What does that enable and why is that important? So we've got OBL, protecting the order, maintaining the work. We'll have interim entity working on the non-order work. And then we have the government and the regulators moving towards a long-term regulatory framework, which will enable the regulators, it will give powers to the regulators to mandate participation, to oversee and approve that equitable, sustainable economic model, pricing, fees, and how that works to ensure a vibrant, competitive, innovative market. It isn't just those 3 streams, though. So I see OBL, interim entity, those two will eventually become one. Government and regulators working to make sure we have the controls over our work, over our market. We also have these groups I've spoken about, trade bodies, Innovate Finance, UK Finance, and others. We have CFIT, we have Smart Data Council, and we have other groups that are working to develop either a proposition or an issue or a requirement in the market. Really important that those continue. Absolutely excited that there's such a large and broad level of participation, but they all need to keep connected as we go forward. And then there's the companies, then there's the innovators, the fintechs, the banks, the PISPs, that are doing their work, building their businesses to keep delivering those benefits to the final one, the sixth one, which is the end consumer. All working in parallel. The role of an OBL, an interim entity, a future entity, is to keep that connected, navigate. As I say to the teams, white knuckle through those choppy waters, because it's hard at times and it's frustrating. But that's the skill. Navigate through, keep those connections going, and have the mindset of working it out together, rather than one group telling the other group what the right way is. Inevitably, it will be a compromise as we move forward. And so we need to build on that effective work, that growth, that month-on-month growth. That's why I'm feeling confident. I have been incredibly encouraged by the level of participation, both in time, know-how, and funding for that interim entity to have a far broader scope, a broader governance that involves all of the market to take this work forward. And so it's with enormous thanks to the team at OBL, to the teams at the regulators, to all of you and all those engaged, to build businesses and ensure we remain competitive. With this activity in the market, we will encourage more investment. We've got a track delivery of growth and delivering. And I think we'll go from strength to strength. And it's important that this sustainable ecosystem, and it is a funding model that supports it. It's not going to organizations and asking for a contribution. It's a sustainable economic model that makes sure that those who are ordinarily underserved get the benefit of this capability. Be it access to credit, be it access to benefits, be it making everyday life just easier, being it better information about pensions, about home buying, and then moving beyond. Because the future entity will need to be flexible. It will need to be open, and it will need to reach into other sectors, be it transport, be it energy, be it healthcare, be it government information, to share best practice, to ensure interoperability, to be a standard setter that others can adhere to in an appropriate way for that vertical. Future entity will need to do that. I also think it has a role in reaching out to other jurisdictions. The incoming inquiries are really uplifting, but we can't do much today, but we will be able to do a lot going forward. Again, ensure interoperability. What are the use cases that can go cross-border seamlessly? Same standards, same approach. It's mind-blowing when you consider other sectors and the rest of the globe. And so future entity will need to have that flexibility to partake in those conversations. I don't have a vision of one entity running everything. I don't think that will happen, and I don't necessarily think that's the right thing, because different industry sectors have their own approach. They know their market better than any other. But we have to be interoperable, we have to use the same standards, and we have to learn from each other. So keeping those parallel tracks running, keeping that connection in an orderly, controlled way, building those relationships is really important. I think we've made significant progress. I think this year we're going to do major step change, and those growth numbers will keep growing. And so delivering that vision of a smart data economy is actually a reality. It is a reality. It's happening now. It's growing every month, and there's a lot more to come. Thanks for your time. Thank you.